We are back from the bye weeks. We're going to take a look at the national landscape, where the Cardinals are standing in it after the first quarter-ish of the season. We've got Matt Statz around the ACC in 60 seconds, the Georgia Tech preview while you all are here, predictions, and more. Let's roll that intro. Just watching them play their next few games, it hasn't...
You have to attack that. I mean, that's a spot for us that, Jeff is probably licking his chops.
Hello and welcome to another episode of From the Pink Seats podcast, powered by the State of Louisville Podcast Network, our friends over at Kern's Corner and Frankfort Avenue Liquors. And boys, got big news for you. We have new sponsors here to help fuel the rocket ship that is the State of Louisville Podcast Network and From the Pink Seats podcast. And it's our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. It is the greatest time of year again. Football is back, and it's here to stay until February. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year, making picks with our friends over at Underdog Fantasy and using the Underdog Fantasy app. I used to love the Underdog app because it makes wagering simple and easy. You go in, you kind of look at some certain things, and it's like, oh, what does this do? I don't know. This one, you're just fantasy and more or less. You can choose higher or lower on your favorite players' stats like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com or the Underdog Fantasy app and sign up with promo code PINKSEATS. Again, if you haven't used Underdog Fantasy before, sign up with promo code PINKSEATS. No space, all one word. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em, and plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, one more time, that's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PINKSEATS to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 21 plus in Massachusetts, Arizona, 19 plus, Alabama, Nebraska, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operate. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. And with that, if you're still with us here and you're watching us on the YouTube.
That was not times 2 speed at all, people. That was one take, one breath of air.
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to advise you to use that one pick and take it all and bet the house on Max Holloway to knock out Ilya Tapora.
Oh, my God.
Well, while you're here, if you're watching us on the YouTube, go on down there. Tickle that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting close to that 1,200 mark, and we want to take this channel to the moon. So get down there, click the subscribe button, click the notifications, then head on over to all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow the State of Louisville. Follow at Matt McGavic. Follow at Vincent Lococo. And follow at Producer Keith. And with that, we don't have a game to recap because we were on a bye week. So, fellas,
that's nice.
How'd you spend the bye?
I didn't know what I was going to do with myself until I decided, you know what? I'm going to watch The Dark Knight. And you know what I did after that? Watch Dark Knight Rises. And you know what I did after that? I realized I'd never seen Batman Begins. So I said, screw it. And I watched that. So I binged the Dark Knight trilogy intentionally.
In a different order.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, you got to add the one last thing. I then got sore throat medication from me constantly going, Batman.
Yeah, like seriously.
Where are they?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
I love those. I love those movies. Those are great.
So good.
Classic. Vince, how'd you spend the bye week?
Gaslight Festival in J-Town. Went and did that.
No, you didn't. What are you talking about?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Watched the Kentucky game in a bar full of Kentucky fans. which was
I'm mad at how good that joke was.
I know. That's why I just rolled my eyes. But I watched the UK game at like a bar full of Kentucky fans, and it was hilarious.
How'd they
to see the reaction after that interception?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hilarious. That ball seeing the ball hit the ground and looking over at like the 10 Louisville fans that were like kind of in the vicinity, and we just high fives, barking. It was great. It was a great time.
So what was funnier, the reaction to the interception or the reaction to the punt?
I think
Ooh,
the
that's a
interception,
good one.
because like they don't really know football, so I mean they weren't going to sit there and like, "Oh, what the hell?" I'm kidding.
I mean, you're not. They don't know.
But it was
why they
good.
should Be mad
Good weekend.
at punting. Yeah.
Got a corn dog. Corn dogs are awesome because like I never go to the fair, so like that's like my one time to get a corn dog. I have to pay for
they're
parking
just
for the fair.
Oh man, delicious, tasty treats. Can't get enough corn dogs. I was a sicko, and I spent my whole weekend just watching an obnoxious amount of college football because it's my time of year, and like I don't get into the NFL so much anymore because Miami Dolphins have killed my childish wonder for professional ball. So now my emotional, mental, and financial health usually depends on 18 to 24-year-olds.
We're hurting. We are going to. Actually, I don't know. I kind of enjoy our signing of Snoop. I kind of enjoy it. I kind of enjoy it. I kind of enjoy it. I'm kind of here for it, Keith. I mean, he's more fun than Tua. We're going to have like 30 seconds of Dolphins talk right here. He's more fun than Tua, and I'll take it. I think Mike McDaniel can run an offense with that opposed to Tua. There's my take.
Blow it up. Blow it all up.
I'm right there with you. I'm hitting the button with you. But yeah.
All right. But since we're college football and a Louisville college football podcast, we went through a little bit of last week's slate, and we finally got the most shiny new, up-to-date AP polls. And fellas, it's weird not complaining about why aren't the Cards ranked in week 3, week 4 of a season. It's like, we're ranked. So we're in at 19th in the most recent AP polls. What are your thoughts? Too high, too low, just right?
I think that's good for us right now. I mean, I'm shocked we're ranked that high. I think we're shocked. I'm shocked we're ranked that high. I would expect us to be more like 23 to 25, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and
complain. Yeah, I kind of did too, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, we haven't beat, like everybody's been talking about, we haven't beat anyone, and I guess we beat the
While that is true, though, like we also haven't looked bad against our opponents that we had. Like
zero hiccups, nothing.
NC State.
Well, not just NC State. Everyone and their grandma, it seemed like week 1. Oregon really struggled. Notre Dame struggled and lost a game. Michigan looked sloppy. Penn State looked sloppy.
Florida State didn't struggle. Florida State flopped. They are.
I told you all. I want to hear you all say, Vince, you were, or maybe not you, Keith, but definitely Matt. Vince, you were right about DJ. You were right about DJ. I want to hear those words come out of your mouth on live recording.
You son of a bitch. Vince, you were right about DJ.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did not expect him to look that bad. I mean, his confidence is just not.
I think that's part of it too with him is like once he gets in that bigger stage and that bubble just starts shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. I don't know. It could be like an anxiety thing for him almost at this point.
Yeah, so no gripes with the polls whatsoever. I just queued it up here. Texas jumped Georgia. That was one of the bigger things, which I think all of us agreed with. Like, yeah, it's early in the season. Teams can jump back and forth, and Texas has the most impressive win, just shelling Michigan at the big house. I will never do that because screw those nerds.
I was lugging an OU cooler the last time I saw you. That is true.
Hey, married into it. So, and my thoughts, I'm with you guys. I'm happy to be ranked, as lame as that sounds. Also, who would have thought us right next to Michigan and Iowa State, a team that Matt said it wouldn't be fun for us to play. But
you are not letting go of that.
No, the people of Ames. a city that also brags about its tap water.
To go to Ames, Iowa. Because of the tap water. I have good tap water here.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, that's like one of the things the cities have in common.
What are we going to have, a bowl? The tap water bowl? Or the tap water?
Yes! The battle for the kitchen sink. Come on.
Loser has to drink the opposing city's tap water for a year.
But realistically, though, looking at the polls, I don't think we really have a room to gripe because there's 3, maybe 4 teams that realistically we consider national championship contenders. And then basically spots 5 through 40, you could basically throw in a random, maybe like 5 through 20, throw in a random number generator, be fine with the order. And then 21 through 40, you get the same thing. So
I think if there's any team that has the potential to crack that like top 4 championship contenders like tier, I think it might be Tennessee.
Oh, that was one of my 4 teams.
Yeah. Nico's
who's your 4?
So Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, and then maybe Ohio State.
And Ohio State. I would have had Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, and then Bama.
Yeah, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Louisville.
Hey, we're Louisville Pod. We need someone to do it. So, so glad we're all sort of on the same page. With that, there are only 3 ACC teams in the most recent iteration of the top 25 poll. Miami at 8, who starting to get a little bit of national noise. They've looked really good in the games they've played so far. We'll see how they look once conference play rolls around. Next, us at 9.
I'm not going to start gloating yet because I've been adamant all season that Miami's going to be good. But I'm not going to start gloating yet because they haven't really played hardly anyone.
We haven't seen the Cristobal game yet. There's going to be one Cristobal game where it's like, what the hell?
It's coming.
So the second highest ranked team is your Louisville Cardinals, checking in at 19 in the AP poll, like I mentioned previously, with Clemson 2 spots behind us at 21. Little bit surprised by that. I'm shocked that we're getting more respect than Dabo and them boys.
I think they think I kind of think it too, that this could be the year that we beat them. I mean, I always think that this could be the year that we, at least the past 2 years I have. But this, I mean, I said it last year. It feels like if there's ever a year, why not this year? Seriously, but you never know. You never know. I don't know.
If you keep throwing the pick out, it's eventually going to hit.
What scares me the most is BC and Castellanos. Like he just scares the shit out of me. Like and what would we say? We're playing them on a Friday night. Is that what you said, Keith?
Friday night on a short week after Miami.
See, that scares the shit out of me now. That has officially crept into my gut as like, oh shit. Like
I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a trap game anymore. Like BC's good.
That's where I'm more on that side, Matt. I'm not thinking trap game. I just think BC's that. I mean, I think it's good and it fits together kind of with the trap game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Bill O'Brien's the real deal.
Yeah, I'm not
going to get. They were ranked last week. They were ranked last week and didn't get the benefit of the doubt that so many teams of a different conference get when they have a close loss on the road to an SEC team. So they fell out. I believe they were still receiving votes. I don't have that portion of the polls in front of me, but yeah, that very well could be a ranked matchup if Boston College holds serve throughout the season. But we've talked a little.
Poll. Yes, they are receiving votes. Yes.
Okay. So with that, talking a little bit about the ACC, Vince, it's time for your favorite segment. It's time for us to go around the ACC in 60-ish seconds.
It's the best.
So, getting my notes queued up, let's get this ball rolling. FSU versus Memphis.
False start.
I fucked him up.
5-yard penalty.
I thought we were getting a countdown. That's my bad. That's on me. Hey, hand up, coach. That's on me. I'll go to the penalty box.
All right. So, a little bit of a false start. We're going to go around the ACC in 60-ish seconds. FSU at Memphis. Noles lose 2012. NC State at Louisiana Tech. Grayson McCall got injured, and the offense improved. Pack win 30-20. Boston College at Mizzou. Eagles run out of gas in the second half. They fall 27-21. Miami versus Ball State. Surgical drone strike. Canes win 62-0. Georgia Tech versus VMI. Beat them down. 59-7 Ramblin' Wreck. Pitt versus West Virginia. The backyard brawl never disappoints. Pitt comes back late in the fourth quarter to win 38-34. Duke versus UConn. Duke, now with the most unimpressive 3-0 record I've ever seen. Devils win 26-21. UNC versus NC Central. Mac Brown just taking a little sleepy nap until the fourth quarter. He'll storm late to win 45-10. Virginia Tech at Old Dominion. Hokies, way to finally win on the road against the Monarchs. 37-17 Hokies. Wake Forest versus Ole Miss. Apparently losing 40-6 was so bad they paid $1 million not to do it again. Virginia versus Maryland. Dr. Jackal, Anthony Calandria, finally shows his face. Who's lose 27-13. And Cal versus San Diego State. Cal students took a break from throwing cards onto the field and posting the dankest memes on Twitter.com to pick up a quick dub 31-10.
That's great. That was great.
118.
That's why it's 60-ish seconds.
60-ish, yeah.
The false start really threw him off. It got him off his rhythm. I mean,
that's true, yeah.
Yeah, he had a good jump of the snap count and everything. And
well, it also doesn't help. We got a 17-team league.
Yeah, if it was the ACC as God intended,
we wouldn't be in it.
Clemson would be number one, apparently.
With Florida State right there with them. But with that, we talked about the conference. It's time to start rolling into why you all are here, the preview of Georgia Tech. But before we hop into that, we're going to turn it over to our friend Matt McGavic for some Matt Statz.
Woo, woo, insert, noise here for segment. Woo, yeah, I can
Pow, that needs to be his intro every time.
I walked into that one. So under Brent Key, we've kind of been accustomed to this being like a really good offensive team, especially with Brent Key being a former offensive line coach. They're really good in the trenches. They're not like super, super explosive, but they're efficient up front. So most of my stats here this week are going to be like offensive focus because that's going to be the focal point for this team. So they've got obviously Haynes King, he's the star of the show, but they've also got two really good wide receivers in Malik Rutherford and Eric Singleton. Rutherford's got 22 catches for 285 and 2 scores. Singleton's got 16 catches for 250 and 1 score. Georgia Tech is one of only 4 programs to have at least 2 players that are currently in the FBS's top 50 receiving yards leaderboard. Can you guess the other 3?
Ole Miss?
Stuff.
Nope.
USC?
None of them are in the top 25.
Oh, okay. So just straight up fun and gun air raid teams. Hawaii?
Can I get a conference?
Let's see. We've got the Fun Belt, the Big 12, and the ACC.
Someone from Western? I feel like Western does it all around.
Well, I'm also trying to think teams that have played 3 or 4 games like Georgia Tech. So
the teams are you done?
Yeah.
No guesses? It is App State, Colorado, and Wake Forest.
Colorado's one I should have.
Eating the studs.
The stat padding Colorado buffs. I should have seen that one.
Yeah, that one's not very surprising. So they've got a good dynamic offense that's kind of predicated on the run, but they've got good. I heard that does well passing, but as Prez said in our group chat, it's not really a downfield deep threat passing offense at all. In fact, I went looking on the advanced stats. Haynes King's average depth of target in 4 games, which isn't a big sample size, but it's not a lot. It's not a
quarter of a season.
Either. Yeah, his average depth of target is only 6.8 yards. Of the 125 quarterbacks with at least 50 dropbacks so far this season, he ranks 114th in average depth of target. So they're more so relying on these guys to kind of get open after the catch and then make plays with their just breakaway speed and just getting in space. And I mean, going further onto that, he's only attempted 13 passes that have gone 20-plus yards past the line of scrimmage. 69 of his 107 attempts are either behind the line of scrimmage or 0 to 9 yards passing. So their passing game kind of works in a phone booth. I mean, their whole offense kind of operates out of a phone booth because they play a lot of inside the tackle with Jamal Haynes and their running game in general. So it's a very truncated offense, but I don't mean that in like a negative view. I mean, if you have the necessary playmakers,
they have a phone booth type head football coach. In all honesty, Matt, he's like a rather fight you in a phone booth than spread you out type of guy, anyways. So I mean, I feel like that fits the entire personality of that team.
I mean, this is a dude who looked onto national television and said, "Run the dang ball."
Yeah, and I'm just glad that their coach doesn't wear hen shirts again. Like the last one.
He also ran the triple option, Vince. Come on.
No, Collins didn't.
Collins did not know.
Yeah, no, he used to have shirts that would legitimately be hemmed up to here. Go back.
Oh, okay. Yep. Nope.
Yeah,
you're right.
No, Paul Johnson was the triple option coach.
That's who I was thinking of.
And continue on the offense, an underrated component of this team, and it should make sense considering, Key's an former offensive lineman, is that their offensive line is really good. They've only given up 3.5 tackles for loss average per game, which comes in at 35th nationally. And they're one of only 8 FBS teams and one of only 3 power conference teams to not give up a sack so far this season. And another quiz. Who are the other 2 teams in the power conference ranks who have not given up a sack?
Damn. 2 quizzes?
Air Force and Army.
Classes?
No.
Power Service Academy.
Power conference.
I don't know. I would imagine everybody's given up a sack by now, at least one. I mean, I'm interested to hear this.
You would think. It is Oklahoma State and Rutgers.
Wow.
Rutgers, I should have thought of.
I never would have guessed either one of those.
Rutgers likes to run the ball. I would have maybe Minnesota. I would have thought, but just because PJ Fleck's addicted to running the ball too. But
true. And now for my one Matt stat on the defense. I mean, we can all agree that based on watching them play Florida State and also Georgia State, their defense does look better, but that's only like barely clearing the bar because their defense last year was so bad. If anything, their play in the trenches is what's most improved on that defense. But their secondary still has some massive question marks, especially after watching Kyle McCord, Oronde Gadsden, and all those other receivers for the Orange just dice them, slice them all to hell.
I mean,
so looking at – go ahead.
I was going to say, even watching the Florida State game again, those receivers were running butt naked open more times than not. If only they could get the ball to them.
Yeah. See, I think that's where we're going to take advantage of this team is doing stuff like that.
Save it for the preview, Vince.
I know.
Yeah. So this defense plays very well against the run, as you can imagine, because they've done well at generating physicality. Everywhere else, their pass rush is pretty bad. They kind of lack in the coverage department, and they're not great at tackling. Which I mean, that's all 3 of those are very bad. But going on PFF, they've got a 63.6 tackle grade, a 65.2 pass rush grade, and a 65.9 coverage grade. There is only one team at the power conference level who has worse grades in all 3 categories. Third quiz.
Kentucky.
Colorado.
Oh,
Vandy.
It's not Vandy.
Auburn?
I'll give you a hint. It's not Mississippi State.
Almost
surprising. No, Arkansas.
He doesn't run.
I know, but I mean, I just associate everything with Arkansas football with him and everything with their basketball team with Cal, which the story about him and how he got his job the other day on Twitter was absolutely hilarious.
No, just blatant tampering.
Oh, my God. So funny.
So this is how it feels? Yes, this is how it feels, Kentucky fans.
Yes.
But yeah, no, these are my Matt Statz working on, fade out audio here.
Quit trying to give me more work, Matt. It's not going to happen. Well, that is some fun, unique, valuable information, Matt. So let's start to roll that into the preview of Georgia Tech. So much less statistically advanced level. Here's what we know about the Jackets. They're 3-1 on the year. Their only loss so far was on the road in the Carrier Dome to Syracuse by 3 points. And their most impressive win is Florida State. But now that's not as meaningful. So, with that being the sort of high-level overview, I know all three of us have sort of had opportunities to sit down, watch, prepare our own study in the team, what they do, who are their key players, what are some things you noticed. So, Vince, why don't you get us started and just talk about what are some things that you picked up that you learned about the Jackets?
Oh, I mean, being a wide receiver guy, like you mentioned, Keith, seeing the receivers run, what'd you say, butt-ass naked versus Florida State.
Butt-naked open. Butt-naked open.
That's a new one. I think Brewer would love that one. Exactly. But seeing that against Florida State whenever I was watching that live, and then just hearing about I listened to one of the Georgia Tech kind of podcasts and stuff before this, hearing them bitch about how poorly they defend the deep ball game, the play action pass. Those are things that I think we can more than exploit and take advantage of with the guy we have at quarterback who's much improved from what we had last year. I mean, having guys as well that are just going to be able to find open spots and knowing our guy can deliver an accurate ball on time is going to be a game changer. So we're definitely going to have to take advantage of that. And then obviously, defensively, I mean, we just stop Hayden's King. And I mean, I'm not going to say that's the whole game for you, but keep him within the pocket and make him throw the ball at least. I feel like that no sack record that they have going right now. I'm sorry, Robbie. I don't think that one's going to stand after this game, buddy, with Ashton Gelati coming, breathing down the neck. So that's kind of
Mel Logan.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, but I think I can see them, like their offensive line is good, and I can see them thinking that maybe one of their guys can go one-on-one with Ashton at some point in the game. And I just feel like that's not going to fare well for them. I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough game, obviously. I think it's going to be a tougher game than some Louisville fans are expecting. At least tougher than what I was expecting going into this season, for sure, for me.
Well, I feel like expectations got changed drastically after the week 0 game against Florida State. I'm sort of swinging the other way where the more I watch Georgia Tech play, the more confident I am going into this game.
Yeah. Right.
Like I mentioned, their close loss was to Syracuse on the road by 3. In that loss, they had a blocked kick, a blocked punt, and also scored multiple touchdowns late in the fourth quarter. It was to make it seem a lot closer than it was. Like Syracuse let off the gas and they probably got chewed out for it after the game, but they're flawed. They have a lot to be desired, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure I snuck it into the 60-second segment talking about their suspect secondary after the Florida State game, and just watching them play their next few games, it hasn't.
You have to attack that. I mean, that's a spot for us that, Jeff is probably licking his chops.
Oh, yeah. Well, our quarterback is on pace to average, I believe, 40 attempts a game because he had over 20 in the Austin P game and had over 30 against Jacksonville State. So
he's on pace to average no interceptions as well.
Yeah, that's a great pace.
So
basically what you're saying is bet the over.
Not necessarily, because I think Georgia Tech's game plan they're going to pull a similar maneuver to our friends to the east utilize. I feel like they're just going to try and run the ball, hold it, squeeze it, 3 yards a carry, and just milk that clock and limit possessions. I feel like that's the only way that they can really. hang in with
they're
us.
looking at freaking 2 weeks ago now, where Jacksonville State's quarterback ran for 100+ on us. Like, that's what they're looking at, saying this is where we have to attack them, the run game, and then specifically the run game with Haynes. I bet they think they can take advantage of that, but like we talked about in that recap show, I don't think that we didn't have a spy going the entire game. I don't think that's something that they even put in there.
We didn't stack the box hardly at all against Jacksonville State. And I think Georgia Tech staff knows that, like, okay, they're not going to come out and do this against us. Like, but hey, it's what we have on tape. So I expect to see us a lot more 6-7 guys in the box, like a lot of cover zero, just dare you to try and take a shot and beat our elite corners in man coverage. But who knows what we'll see. Matt, I feel like I took a little bit of your thunder there talking about what we expect to see on their side of the ball. So I'll give up my portion and pass it over to you.
So, I mean, if you ask me, it's going to come down to which defense can get more stops or just relative to getting stops.
Really?
Just
That's
because
whose defense can get more stops? I'm going to be a smart ass on that one, Matt. Now, let me guess. Whoever scores more points is going to win too, huh?
I don't know. I thought it was who punted more.
No,
sorry,
this is Iowa.
Hey, we're swaggy,
Matt.
Iowa.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Well, I say that meaning, that did kind of come out as a very, not ball knower take. But, I mean, these are two offenses who, I mean, through the first few weeks of the season have both looked really good. Yeah. I mean, we still haven't figured out what Louisville's exact offensive identity is because we haven't seen them play anyone with the pulse. But at this point, we feel like whatever their identity eventually is going to be, it's going to be executed at a high level. With Georgia Tech, we've already seen a semblance of what they can do offensively, and they can do it relatively well. It's just a matter of what, like I said, Vince, which defense can get more stops. But
which makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess you can make the argument that we haven't seen Louisville's defense against someone with a pulse, so we don't know what their true capabilities are. But on the other side of that coin, we have seen what Georgia Tech's defense has done against teams with a pulse. And only one aspect has looked good, and that's the run defense in the front seven. They have very minimal pass rush, and against a team that has an above-average passing offense, they struggled mightily. So I think this is going to be a shootout, but I think it's one that ends in the favor of Louisville ultimately.
Even in games against non-elite teams. Now, you may try to argue that they were trying to keep the playbook shut. They struggled to put away a Georgia State squad whose coach literally, the team wasn't able to have spring ball because their head coach bailed to take an analyst job at a power conference school.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Now Georgia State has impressed me tremendously. I mean, they just beat my sweet baby CUSA boy, Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt last week. So they could be better than I expected, but you can't struggle against Georgia State and just expect me to be scared.
I want to see what Jeff does here, and if he's going to try and. Well, I think he's going to try and push the ball downfield to start the game, but at the same time, he's got to know in his back pocket he's got 3 bell cows at running back that he could go to at any point, 3 or 4 guys at running back he could go to at any point and just hammer the ball downfield if we needed to. I mean, I think he's really going to put Tyler to the test this game because it is a step up in competition. I think we're going to see a couple different plays in there that we haven't seen these first couple weeks. Maybe stuff that's already been installed during, week 2 or 3 of fall camp that, he knew he wasn't going to call the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
Now, Vince, are you worried about this staff trying to get some advanced prep on Notre Dame at all?
No. I think this is a week-to-week. I've never been, more convinced of having a week-to-week staff. Now, what you and I don't even think they're doing this, Keith. Like usually when you play a shittier team, like say we play Jacksonville State this week opposed to Georgia Tech, you're 100% Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sprinkling in a couple Notre Dame plays here and there, like maybe like their primary stuff, or you have like a 5-minute period of like, hey guys, like you let everyone know like, hey, this is not Jacksonville State, this is Notre Dame right here. Like we're just going to get, a couple series in to see how our defense looks against their offense, with our own eyes, since we have a week to prep for it. No. But not against, I don't think they would ever do that against Tech. Plus I think this stuff is as week to week as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, it is a conference game against a team that, if that was on the docket, I think after week 0, you immediately scrap that plan. And yeah. I feel like with the teams we've played weeks 1 and 2, with the week 0 and the week 3 bye, if you wanted to get advance install in for Notre Dame, Miami, Clemson, you would have done it during that period, during what I dubbed extended training camp.
Yeah, they could have did it, honestly. I bet they did work on some Notre Dame stuff last week. Like I would not have been surprised if, the one offense did last week, just because, like you said, you have more time right now. I mean, you have a whole week still to prep for Georgia Tech. This is your whole normal week. So
to steer the ship back onto Georgia Tech, that was just one of the little creeping, lingering wonders in my mind. But to steer the ship back to Georgia Tech, we talked about Haynes King. In Matt Statz, you talked about Malik Rutherford. Who are some of the other players to know? Other than, I learned you don't pronounce his last name Effort. It's Effort, the viral Mike linebacker
really?
who is peak aesthetics. Yeah.
Oh, I
think he'll do a jersey swap with me after the game.
Only one way to find out, Vince.
I'll give him like my polo, and mine has to come with the cowboy collar though. Like I'm not. I guess I just needed shoulder pads.
You're that high profile of a player, Vince. Like, nah, I need more than just the jersey for this.
Yeah, I need your shoulder pads too.
Yeah. So you want to know more like guys on the offensive side, defensive side, or
just in general? Who are the stars that, if a fan who's not familiar with their game comes out and sees a kid make a play, who's it going to be?
You're not going to be sitting there saying, "Oh, that tall guy? Is that who you're talking about?"
Oh, God, yeah.
Can't hurt us anymore.
Nope. So so Jamal Haynes, he's their running back. He's coming off a 1,000-yard season last year. I don't want to say he's off to a slow start, but he's got 213 and 4 scores through 4 games, so his pace isn't what it was last season, but he's still a proven playmaker, a proven guy. And I mean, they run the ball a lot as is, and between him and Haynes King, that's the bulk of their rushing work. So they very much don't utilize the running back by committee approach. He's pretty much the bell cow, and some of the backups very sparingly kind of get run. And other than like him, Malik Rutherford, Eric Singleton, those are like the 3 primary offensive guys to kind of watch out for. I don't want to say that King has a feed the studs mindset, but he recognizes that these are the guys who have the best probability of making a play for me. So I'm going to keep going to those guys.
I'm excited to see the offensive line against our defensive line. I mean, let's not shake that. That's going to be a big test for our D line for sure. And how well Ashton handles things like double teams. I know I said he could potentially be getting singled out in a pass pro situation, but he is 100% going to be receiving double teams majority of the game. And how well are guys like Destel, Jared Dawson, and Thor Griffith, how well are they going to be doing? How well is Stanquan Clark going to do in an actual game situation against a real opponent when ACC bullets are flying at him? So, the play that we highlighted 2 weeks ago where DB's eyes were in the wrong spot, like stuff like that definitely worries me against a team who, and Matt Statz, we're talking about Haynes King throwing, 6 yards, going 6 yards on his passes. Like, I wonder if Quincy Riley or someone will, I don't know why I said that. Quincy Riley probably won't jump a route to go for an interception, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I could see a guy getting busted on a double move in that situation because we're like, oh, Haynes King can't throw it past 6 yards. So, I mean, they're definitely going to be running this slant, and all of a sudden it's a sluggo, and we're getting beat downfield. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that if their O-line comes out and dominates our D-line, that's going to be a problem the rest of the year.
This will be one of the bigger tests of our D-line depth this season, I feel like, because there are a few guys that we brought in this offseason we have high expectations for, haven't talked about, like Jordan Girard against a running team, especially a team that likes to get east and west like Georgia Tech does, which is where he absolutely thrived at FIU. This is a kid who I could see having a huch game, just causing havoc in the middle of the field. Him, Renee Conga, Destel, like you mentioned.
This is going to be a huge game for TJ Quinn and both him and Stanquan. Like it's that you expect those D linemen to definitely eat up guys, eat up doubles, eat up the offensive linemen like a traditional D lineman does. But these guys have got to shoot the gaps and hit them hard.
Yeah. Games like this,
it's going to be a bigger game for the two middle linebackers for Louisville than we realize, because like if they continue on this trend and not really throwing super deep to where like it's going to be the corners and safeties making plays and coverage. I mean, guys like Stanquan Clark, TJ Quinn, Ben Perry, or anyone else stepping up at inside linebacker star, they've got to get better at pass coverage, because as dominant as Louisville's defense has been through the first two games, the one thing that I still would love to see more out of this group is the linebackers in pass coverage, because it's still not that great. And you can get away with it against teams like Jack State and Austin Peay. But if the other team if they can see it on tape and they're going to keep going to that, something's got to get fixed there. Like I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's been a consistent thing over the last.
I mean, I can see exactly what you're talking about, Matt, happening in the game, because it happened against Jacksonville State, where they ran that they had a curl and they had a wheel come behind it, right? And like that is something where you are exactly what you're talking about right there, where we might have to. TJ Quinn, Stanquan might have the back out of the backfield right there. Safety takes his guy on the curl. Oh, shit, where's the linebacker? Oh, he's dropping back into coverage, or he has the wrong guy. Now we're getting hit for a 40-yard gain on a wheel route or something like that. Like, odds is the biggest thing that I worry about with this defense in particular, just because we've been hit. Like, the two big plays that we've had against, Jacksonville State and stuff have involved guys having poor eyes. Specifically, remember TJ on that the touchdown in the end zone, the midline read against Jacksonville State. Like that worries me. If you do that against Haynes King, that play could happen at the opposite 25. Like he is a fast player.
Do you think our D-backs are physical enough to where you see us running?
Yes, but it doesn't matter how physical you are. If you have 10 yards of space, 5 yards of space, even against some of these guys, like you're going to get You're done.
Well,
you're cooked.
No, what I say, like, to see us not quite run out of a base dime package, but if our linebackers keep getting beat, fuck it, let's go to dime personnel and try to not have liability.
I'm bringing somebody down anyways. I would bring somebody down for this and run, like you said, I'd run more cover one stuff, so I can still have a safety over top, right? That could play both sides. But, I mean, I'm definitely bringing somebody down in the box to help out with the run game.
Yeah, and a guy like Tamarion McDonald has already proven that he can play in the box. So, I mean, I can see – this is a game where I see him getting a ton of run, because he can play on the back end, but he has shown through 2 games already – again, I know strength of schedule, opponent, whatnot. But he's looked comfortable playing in the box and around the line of scrimmage, making plays in the backfield. So, this is a DB who, like, while he's more so on the roster as like a free safety, I wouldn't be shocked to see him around the line of scrimmage for most of this game.
Yeah, Thor Griffith, Jordan Girard, and T-Mac, these are the type of games we bring you in for. We need a thumper who can stop the run. We need a D-tackle that's not going to get pushed backwards and can eat a double team at the line of scrimmage to open up space for our linebackers to make play. Those guys are going to have to be huge for this to get out of hand. So,
and I'm anxious to see like how well we do whenever – I'm not saying we will in this game, but when we get punched in the mouth, because it'll happen. It is bound to happen.
Always happens.
We will get
punched. It's football. Yeah, you're going to get
how
at some point.
How will this team respond? After a turnover, after somebody takes a kickoff return and for a touchdown. I mean, like you all said,
special teams play.
Exactly. They have multiple of those against Syracuse. Like, how well do you respond? Fumbles, stuff like that. How well do you respond whenever you get hit in the mouth? I really want to see that. Maybe not this game, because I kind of want to blow them out, but maybe not.
Maybe against a team like Miami, Clemson, Notre Dame with some sparkle, brand appeal.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've gotten a little bit in the weeds talking about like what we expect to see, what we want to see, but I feel like that's what a lot of the people come here for. That was a really fun conversation talking about what we expect. It's time to get over to predictions. And fellas, as of right before this podcast recorded, the Cards, 10-point favorites even was the closest spread I could find. A lot of places already up to 10.5. So, but for the sake of the podcast, we're going Cards.
The line actually opened at 10.5. So that's been a little bit surprising that there's been minimal movement or no movement in some books at all. So I guess maybe some like bettors out there are still, all of that too. Or like they're not convinced that Louisville is maybe a top team because they haven't played anyone yet. I mean, that could be a thought process.
Well, I mean, the purpose of getting a line, like of setting a betting line, is trying to get it as close to 50-50 as possible, which is what makes this little pick'em challenge so fun. So I think it's a combination of people, Georgia Tech's not as good as we think they are, while also people on the, Louisville hasn't really played anybody yet. Like, it's a good line. Yeah. Shout out to Vegas. Good line. Good line.
Yeah.
So,
so
just to recap where the records are on the year, Jacob, he's at 2-0. Matt, you're at 2-0. Vince, you're at 2-0. And I'm a lowly 1-1 because of my policy of always taking the week 0 and week 1 points. So
you live by the sword, you die by the sword, Keith. I'm proud of you.
With that, Jacob Lane, we got a pick from since he wasn't able to join us for tonight's pod. He's going with the Cards, giving up 10 points. Has the opportunity for the push on that nice. It's at a unique points total where it's a touchdown and a field goal. So sets up a good opportunity to push if things do get a little spooky, but he's going with the Cards. Matt, how about you?
Are we calling pushes ties here or outright wins? I'm curious.
No, a push is going to be a tie. So Vince,
okay.
For point spreads that don't have that half point attached to the back end. So in theory, the bet ties. If Louisville wins by 10, then that's a push. So you if you were to bet that, you would get your money back.
Oh, I know that. I meant within the confines of our little.
Oh, yeah, no. I was explaining for the not degenerate among us. So,
we're really deep in the woods with the degenerates.
Yeah. You know what? Executive decision pushes are just going to be pushes. It's not a win. It's not a loss. We'll add a third column if needed.
Okay.
Deal.
So Jacob, he's taking Cards minus 10. So
I'm sure Jacob will come up with something more creative by the next episode of this.
I'm sure he will.
Well, Jacob's not here right now.
The kids are in charge. The inmates running the asylum today.
Yes.
But anyways, I'm going to take Louisville here. I think that's, like I said earlier in the episode, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think Louisville covers, but just barely. I'm taking it 41-28 Louisville.
I'm also going to take the Cards. What we say, minus 10? Yeah.
Yep, that's the line.
Yeah. I have a feeling that with their secondary, our receivers, I think Jeff's going to try and come out and send a statement with Tyler that we are not the team of last year, that you will have to severely guard the passing game as well as the run game. With the amount of running backs that we have. I don't think it's going to be a shootout like Matt. I think we can keep Haynes in check. I think we can – I don't think we were shown everything that – I'm banking on that. I'm banking on us not showing everything against Jacksonville State and Austin Peay, which I'm sure we didn't. But that's what I'm banking on. And the D-line, I think the D-line is going to come out and also send a statement because this is an offensive line head coach. It's like having – 3 to 4 offensive line coaches with the head coach, the offensive line, Robbie at GA, another QC. Like, it's like you'll have like 4 O-line. You'll have an offensive line coach for each position. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? So, yeah, I'm taking
a bunch of meatheads.
Yeah.
So, I know talking to Jacob and talking to you all on the pod early in the season after Georgia Tech won that game, Jacob started to get scared. Like, this Georgia Tech.
You're talking about the same guy that hears rain and goes and hides in a bathtub.
So
he's not here. We're telling jokes. I love you, Jake.
a couple other things that we know about this Georgia Tech team. They're a quarter of the way through their season, and they haven't played a bye week, or a third of their way through their season, pardon me. And they haven't had a bye week yet. And this is also a team that's had to deal with international travel, a tight game against a G5 opponent, and a loss on the road. They finally had a tune-up game against VMI, which awfully disrespectful of them to treat troops and cadets like that, but that's another story for another day. Like, even on those tune-up games, Vince, you don't come out of those, I'm well rested and refreshed. You're still getting beat up all week because you're getting...
Puma was out for the year after Eastern Kentucky in 2019.
So this is going to be a fatigued Georgia Tech team that, frankly, even in their wins, hasn't impressed me. Realistically, watching that Syracuse game, they should have lost by 17, if not more. Now, shouldas, wouldas, couldas, so on and so forth. But this is a team that can be sloppy on both sides of the ball, that had a couple of big plays in their loss. Like, they were down by, I believe, 17 going into the fourth with those turnovers, with those blocked kicks, making those big plays. This is a team that if you can get ahead and put a foot on their neck early, don't let off the gas like this Brom coach team does, given the evidence of how we've covered against lesser competition in the first 2 weeks of the season when we easily could have let off the gas. Like, I was the most pessimistic one coming out of the offseason. I think I'm the most bullish here. Like, I think the Cards dominate this game.
Which is awesome to feel. Like, I love feeling this confident, Keith. We need to keep this coming the rest of the year.
Well, like, this is probably going to be the best defensive line and best defense as a whole Georgia Tech plays until they play the Dogs.
And even then, you don't know.
You know what? Well, I can't. Their defense still looked pretty good last week, so I'm not going to poop on Georgia there. But
you can't.
It's going to be a tough game for them after all the traveling they've been doing back and forth, and they haven't had a chance to breathe yet. This is a golden opportunity for Louisville to come out, be physical, make some plays, make some sexy passes in the air raid offense to get this crowd excited. With the hype that Georgia Tech had coming out of week 0, I assume a lot more people got tickets to the Georgia Tech game. So we should have a bigger crowd than what we've had for the last couple. Like, it should be a fun atmosphere Saturday afternoon. And I think the conditions are right for Louisville to come out of a bye, make a statement, and then on to the Irish. So officially taking the Cards -10.
Yes. I think so. Everybody's taking the Cards -10. I mean, can you imagine? You mentioned all that travel and stuff. That's what I was thinking about. Because I was so tired after NC State in 2019. That was like that late 9 o'clock onside kicks and stuff. And I mean, I was on the support staff. That's
was
what
that the game that Shalco had the touchdown pass?
I think so. Yeah. Yes, I think so. But I mean, just you have sports staff has like a whole 2-3 hours of work to do after the game. So can you imagine the Dublin game? Like, that would be absolutely miserable.
Yeah. So with that, all the picks are in. We're being really boring this week, and we're all going Cards -10. That being said, thank you all for tuning in, getting yourself informed, getting yourself prepped for Georgia Tech. If you're going to the game, look forward to seeing you at the tailgate. Looking forward to seeing you in your seat before kickoff. Looking forward to seeing you all hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube and go support the people who support us, Kern's Corner,
Please.
Frankfort Avenue Liquors, and our new friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Pink Seats when you sign up. So with that, that's Matt McGavic. That's Vince Lococo. I'm producer Keith. This has been another episode of From the Pink Seats podcast. And as always, go Cards.